This is Grow Omaha Uncut, where you can watch our radio show, including what goes on in the commercial breaks. And be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons.
Good morning and welcome to the show. Jeff Beals here at your service. Glad you have joined us. You're not going to find another show in the metro area that talks about what we discuss, and that is how to make Omaha a bigger, more vibrant, more prosperous city. We talk a lot about real estate development, new businesses. Later in the show, we'll talk about restaurant and retail openings, so stay with us. You're going to enjoy it. And it's all possible because of our title sponsors. They are Dingman's Collision Center with 4 metro area locations and Cheer Athletics, the nation's #1 all-star cheer gym. Well, without any further ado, it's time to welcome back my co-host, a man who has left us in a lurch over the last 2 weeks with his absence, and we know we've had several of you write in worried about his health and safety, but he's fine, he's back, and his name is Trenton Magid.
Arigato, Beal-san.
So are you telling me you were in Japan?
Yes. Konnichiwa, everyone. Trenton and Amy went to Japan. We were gone for 17 days, and it was all in the name of research for Grow Omaha and how we can make Omaha a more vibrant and be like Japan.
So the only thing we have to do is get 36 million people to be here, and then we can be just like Tokyo.
Yeah, about 37 million. There's more since you counted last, and we hit Tokyo, and it is such a well-run city. If ever there was, obviously Omaha doesn't have 125 million people or 37 million people in one city. Such a well-run intermodal trains, buses, taxis. They even have Uber.
And you took the bullet train.
We the Shinkansen throughout Japan as well, and they already have the technology. They're going to have the fastest. It's called maglev, which you should see it online, ladies and gentlemen. It actually goes 375 miles an hour, and they're building more of them. And it's faster than anything in China, 375 miles an hour, and it actually levitates about 4 feet above the ground. So there's no friction when it gets going.
We need that for the new streetcar. Go from 10th and Hardy to the Med Center in 3.2 seconds.
Before you leave. That's about what it is. And you see this thing, but even the trains now that go a couple hundred miles an hour, we got around and we hit the sites. We even got to go to the World Expo, which if people that are in the know here, believe it or not, in 1898, the Trans-Mississippi Exposition had 2.5 million people in Omaha, Nebraska. Where they slept in tents or covered wagons or what?
Airbnb.
Pretty much. And whatever the 4 was for that. But basically, we ended up outside of Osaka for a day, and at $1.6 billion, they built a $230 million grand ring, and it looks like a giant Jenga set. Check it out. It's going on now. If you can go through October 13th, I believe. For 6 months, they spent $1.6 billion. Some of it will stay, some of it will go. But I highly recommend Japan. It's a beautiful country. It's a great culture and wonderful people.
Well, folks, if you enjoyed listening to the last 2 minutes, Trenton is hosting a 4-hour slideshow this afternoon, open to the public, free admission, in which he will go over all details of his trip to Japan.
And you cannot leave.
Once you're in, it's kind of like the post-prom party. It's a lock-in, and if you commit, you're
it's
there.
It's not air-conditioned, but...
and there will be no food and beverage.
Free hot tea.
With that, let's go into our restaurant news. We have a review this week. Of course, our restaurant reviews are always brought to you by All Makes, the legendary office equipment and office furniture and technology store. Been at around 25th and Farnham Street area for a long time. They also have locations in other cities too, like Lincoln, Des Moines, Iowa, some of the other smaller communities around Nebraska. All Makes does a great job, and they make our Grow Omaha Eats restaurant reviews possible. So where did Chris Corey go this week? He went to an old standby, one of my favorites, a place that if someone wants to meet there for a lunch appointment, I can't even concentrate all morning because I'm so excited for it. It's the good old Drover.
Yeah, and I didn't realize that the Drover now has Carolyn's cheesecake, and that is delicious. I know they've had it at like Spezia and other restaurants, but Carolyn's is the most unique and excellent cheesecake, and thank you for those beautiful pictures, Chris. Great review.
So, of course, the Drover is located not far from 72nd and Mercy Street. Been there forever, and according to Chris's review, it's as good as it ever is. And so you can read that and all of Chris's Grow Omaha Eats restaurant reviews simply by going to growomaha.com. On the navigation bar, you'll see the word reviews. Drop it down. There's Eats and Flicks. Eats the restaurants, Flicks the movies, and you can see all the reviews we've ever had.
And a picture of Chris, Corey, and Chaps.
I'm not entirely sure that's still on there, but maybe we could make arrangements to get it back. Let's go into our news of the week, which is brought to you by Eagle Mortgage. Thank you, Holly Schneiderwind, and your team at Eagle Mortgage for being part of our Grow Omaha team. Eagle Mortgage basically is all about helping you get your slice of the American dream. It is May. A lot of people are very serious about buying a new house, moving this time of year. One of the first things you want to do is talk to Eagle Mortgage and get yourself a pre-approval letter so that you're armed with a sword and shield, so to speak, when you go into the competitive house searching process. It still is a little dicey out there. Not as bad as it was a couple years ago, but still competitive. Eagle Mortgage is on your side. They'll help you with that. You can find Eagle Mortgage in person at 114th and Dodge or online at eaglemortgagecompany.com.
And if you want an accessible dwelling unit, a ADU that you can learn about in our newsletter, I read it, Jeff, that this week, and you can build a in-law suite in your backyard, basically.
Yeah.
Have a small little bungalow, and I bet you Eagle Mortgage could help you refinance and get some money to build that.
Yeah, and we'll actually talk a little bit more about accessory dwelling units in our third segment today, about a cool model version of that you'll be able to see downtown pretty soon. Well, so right up on the news docket, first thing, Creighton University has announced that it will very soon break ground on its new campus quadrangle. If you've been by campus at any time recently, you know there's a great deal of construction going over there. And one of the things they're going to do is vacate Burt Street. They're going to take the baseball practice facility that is currently there, and they're going to move it to the east. And that whole area is going to become a quad. This is a almost $25 million project. It's going to be 5.7 acres. And it looks like ground is going to be broken here very, very soon. And the completion date is fall of 26, so it'll only be about a 1-year project. But this is in addition to their new softball stadium, which is coming along nicely, their sophomore residence hall, they're soon to break ground new baseball practice facility, which will be used also by CWS teams. And they're building a new shop and warehouse for all of the behind-the-scenes work that'll be just a little bit north of Cumming Street. So Creighton continues to really ramp up quite dramatically.
It's amazing what Creighton has done with Cumming Street and north and south of that, and unbelievable support that they get from the community, and it really made a difference.
And while we're on the academic front, Clarkson College at 42nd and Dodge, a place where I actually used to work in a previous life. I was actually Dean of Student Affairs.
Until I rescued you.
At Clarkson College, until Trenton rescued me into the commercial real estate profession. At any rate, very excited. Clarkson is going to hold a groundbreaking ceremony here pretty soon for a bunch of construction projects. And we'll actually have the president of the college on in a couple of months to talk about that. But today I want to mention one specific part of that project, and that is Clarkson is going to be constructing a huge digital reader board sign screen on the northwest corner of its building, so the southeast corner of 42nd and Dodge. So if you can picture that big video board on the new children's hospital, there'll be something similar, and they'll use it to kind of promote healthcare as a career. It'll be part of a big 4-story display on the side that'll also have the logo. You'll be able to see through a lot of it if you're in the building, but on the outside it'll look like kind of a wall. They call it a scrim, or kind of like a screen. And then on top of that will be the logo, and then this very large vertical digital board that'll wrap around the corner of the building.
Those corner office holders will be able to see through it?
They'll be able to see through the scrim, but the part where the actual video screen is, they won't be able to see through that. My guess is that corner office might not be quite as desirable as it was before the board was put up. But actually, if I remember correctly from a tour I took a couple weeks ago, That's actually a classroom right there. So maybe it'll be good. Students will focus on class instead of looking out the window.
Did they try to recruit you back?
They did not. I kept waiting for the offer, but it did not happen. I'm sure it's just a matter of time. Well, the earth shook a little bit a few hours after last week's show, because that's when Warren Buffett announced that he is retiring and giving up the CEO role, turning it over to his right-hand man, Greg Abel, who will become CEO by the end of the year. But Berkshire did confirm on Sunday at the regular board meeting that Warren will stay on as chairman of the board, but all of the CEO responsibilities by the end of the year will move over to Greg Abel. Trenton, did you feel the earth shake all the way over in Japan?
Absolutely. They were talking about it, and Warren Buffett is so well known, in not just financial communities, but in pop culture, and you hear his name everywhere. And he has done more for Omaha. And a lot of people think, well, does he give a lot of money? Well, he's made so much money for people, made billionaires and 100 millionaires and whatever. Those people have given a ton of money as well. So thank you, Mr. Buffett, and very impressive.
Yeah, and we wish Warren Buffett many, many, many more years on this planet. Even though he's almost 95, we feel that I just got an inkling he's going to keep on going, and we hope he is chairman of Berkshire Hathaway for many more years.
And he's also doing it in style and probably the most disruptive way he could do it. Because, could you imagine if for whatever reason he was incapacitated or whatever, it would be very ugly on the stock market and everything else. But now they're doing it in a controlled manner. Yeah,
phase in. So brilliant, like pretty much everything else that the Oracle of Omaha has done over the course of his career.
Did you do any of the festivities?
I did not. Some years I do, but not this year. I kind of regret not going down there, because normally I'm not a shareholder, but normally I can scare up a pass from a friend or something like that. And this year I just didn't even think to look for one. Too bad. I would have loved to have been there for the big announcement.
You're waiting until next year, right?
The Omaha City Council is reviewing an ordinance to enter into a purchase agreement with Millwork Land Company, LLC. And that will be to facilitate the development of the Millwork Commons parking garage. This is something that we're eagerly anticipating, because Millwork Commons, which is the area north of Charles Schwab Field that has been converting very impressively over the last several years, that area is going to really accelerate once this parking garage happens. And all estimates are that this thing will be complete by the fall of 26, so a little over a year. They're going to start working on it this summer. All this stuff has been worked out. You have to play around a little bit with some of the little parcel ownerships and this sort of thing. But this parking lot will be, I'm trying to think the exact address.
Parking garage.
This parking garage. Let's say 10th and Nicholas. So it'll be northwest of 10th and Nicholas. So it's a very underwhelming site right now. There's a couple scraggly looking buildings that a lot of people are not going to miss. They might kind of have eyesore status. But this is getting close, and you should start to see some ground being broken and some demolition happening there pretty soon. Also, keep in mind at Millwork Commons, you have 2 apartment buildings that are early on in the construction process. The Dizzy Mule apartment complex, which is pretty much done or close to it. And then the future Radford Hotel, which is a renovation of a historic building, which should be starting here, I think, any day now.
Mm-hmm. You got other projects there, too.
Yeah, it's a really dynamic area where a lot of things are happening. We're going to wrap up our News of the Week by Eagle Mortgage right there. Take our first break of the hour, and when we come back, we're going to bring on Sam Cooper. He is with Title Core National, closing title and escrow company based here in Omaha, also the sponsor of our Grow Omaha Sports section. And we are going to have one of our business feature interviews so you can learn a little bit about this company and find out the role that it plays in making Omaha an even more vibrant and prosperous place. So you are listening to Grow Omaha. I am Jeff Beals, sitting next to my friend Trenton Magid. We're brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and Cheer Athletics, and we'll be back in a moment on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
Trenton. The middle knuckle, can you just get that down a little bit?
He loves saying the word knuckle.
You want the first or second knuckle? So
That would be the second.
So my favorite story about Millwork Commons was
I know where
before
it's going with that.
before Millwork Commons.
Right.
I had the listing on Mastercraft Furniture. It's like 130,000 square foot building or whatever. It's low rise, which is not, what do they call it now? It's the innovation.
The Mastercraft.
The Mastercraft, something like that. So Jeff's wearing this is where he used to dress up, or we'd wear some action shirt, maybe a tie. So we're gonna auction this thing. I have it listed. I don't know if we were auctioning it yet or not. And the building leaked, like I said. Mastercraft went out of business.
Right.
And they had, those old warehouse, not a pallet, but it was like this big steel wheel things and the hardwood, thick wood that they used to move things. But it was a cart,
Yeah.
flatbed cart, basically.
Hand cart, yeah. All manual.
And there were like lakes in there, okay. And so for whatever reason,
Puddles that were
one
so
of these
big
were
they were like
one of
lakes.
these were by this lake, and Jeff decides in his dress shoes, his suit, gets on this thing, and I don't know if he had a stick or there was something. But I pushed him out in the middle of the.
It's probably like that deep.
I pushed him out in the middle of this puddle, and he didn't think it was very funny at the time. And I think I went and got like a pole or something.
Yeah, and then I kind of used it to row my. There was no
gondola.
floating. It was more like momentum. You would use it for leverage to push the cart
kind of
out.
a Venice style.
Yeah,
gondola,
yeah. But it would be
down
like
the canal.
it'd be instead of paddling, it'd be like going all the way to the bottom of the canal and wedging yourself forward.
It was so funny. He was so mad at me.
Those were expensive shoes I was wearing.
Yeah, we used to look pretty sharp. Now
That was the suit and tie day.
that's the one thing in Japan, ladies and gentlemen, to the groupies that
Did
watch.
you guys know that Trent was just in Japan? Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys heard about that.
Wait, you went to Japan?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was a pretty good bit. I did. I'll be having a 4 hour.
Yeah, that was a good.
I heard it was
Open
good.
the public.
I'm gonna bring it up again when we get back up.
Seems like they're ready
But
to ship.
they were still wearing suits over there, like a lot most
Oh,
business
really?
people and stuff like that. Yeah.
I was
Do
going in
they,
there.
do they
hoping
still
for
have a lot
something
of?
at least
I,
above
years
the
ago, I heard a lot of
level.
people in Japan smoked. Do they
This
still
to me
No,
was on par
there
with the
there are like
Spider-Man.
smoking rooms, but you barely. You barely see.
Okay.
I was just in DC for a few days, and I was blown away with the number of people there that were smoking. I mean,
Really?
yeah,
Politicians.
DC, a lot of people are smoking
Because I
weed.
love
I mean,
John Walker.
I was there. Last time I was there was this past winter.
yeah,
And every time I take a walk, all you would do is just smell weed.
Is it legal?
yeah.
Yeah, it's legal.
It's legal. So yeah, oh yeah.
But it's overpowering at times.
Yeah, there were times when you kind of walking down the street, you're just like, whoa.
The number of vape shops that want to come into
Not a
Omaha.
pleasant smell.
We get calls from
Yeah, a lot
vape
of times
shops.
it was not a
I
plastic.
thought
Yeah.
because he's a little bit cynical.
Anyway,
We get
vape
calls
shop.
from vape shops all the time for retail space. And,
He's
you
like that in
know,
the books.
Ted
too,
Selden,
so
like in his shop, he
I'm
said
a big fan of
his
USA.
vape shop, he would be rolling over his
Is
grave.
that what they call him, or
So,
they give him another name?
he wouldn't be rolling a blunt.
The one I thought of Ted when I was at Westwood Plaza and the old commercial Federal
10 seconds?
was a
Like
big
this?
couple. Like, can you imagine if
Just make
Ted was
sure
still
you're
alive and owned that
close to
place?
this.
What
Over
would have
here.
happened?
All right.
Without letting your lips touch.
All right, here we go.
All righty.
Close with no lips touching.
Don't let the lips touch.
They're working with me, fellas.
Thanks, Sam.
To News Radio 1110 KFAB and the Pyramid Roofing Severe Weather Center, and be ready when storms develop.
And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beals and Trent Magid with you. We're brought to you by Cheer Athletics along with Dingman's Collision Center. Well, we periodically like to feature businesses here in Omaha that are making a difference in the community and contributing greatly to the economy. And today that company is Title Core National. They're also one of the sponsors of Grow Omaha. They sponsor our sports section on both the website and the newsletter. And from Title Core National today, we have Sam Cooper with us. Good morning, Sam, and welcome.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for having me, Jeff. And since I'm not going to be on tomorrow, I wanted to say a little early Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there.
You know what? It's nice of you to say that. I probably should have thought of it earlier, but I would echo what you just said. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms.
Very kind of you.
Sam, why don't you start by giving us the 30,000-foot view of Title Core?
Yeah, thanks, Jeff. So Title Core is a title and settlement services company. So think just like you would think a normal title company. We handle title insurance and settlement services for residential or commercial transactions. We're based locally here in Omaha, so our kind of breadbasket, our normal and most of our business comes from Nebraska and Iowa, but we can handle or help place transactions all across the country. And in addition to doing kind of title and settlement services for residential and commercial transactions, we also have a 1031 exchange company in-house. So we're able to handle 1031 exchanges that occur on our commercial transactions as well.
Well, thanks for being on the show today. We're still going. So tell us, what is title insurance for those that don't know?
Oh, thanks. Thank you for that question, Trenton. And for anyone who maybe doesn't know, Trent and Jeff did not prep me at all for this, so they have no idea what I'm going to say here. I mean,
we like live radio.
I was going to say this is live in every sense of the word live, so I appreciate that question. Title insurance is an insurance product. We're regulated by the Nebraska Department of Insurance, and what we insure is marketable title for the buyer. We also issue a product to lenders in transactions to ensure that they have a foreclosable security interest in the property and that they're in the position that they want to be in. And in order to do that, we have to search the public records, various sources of public records, to determine both the status of ownership of the property and then also if there are any liens or encumbrances or other things that might affect your ownership of the property, including easements. And then we issue a report to everyone in the transaction that says this is who owns the property, this is what property we think you're talking about, and these are all the things that affect it. And that way everyone can have, just a high degree of confidence in the transaction that they know what they're getting and that they're at the end of the day, the buyer is going to get exactly what they thought they were going to get. And then, obviously, in addition to doing all that research and issuing that report so that everyone knows what's going on, we kind of back it up with an insurance product. So if we're wrong or the buyer doesn't get what they thought they were getting, then we have a claims process so they can get paid out and made whole.
So it's very important. Even if you have the cash, you want to go through the title company and make sure that you have what they call a clean title, right?
Correct. Yeah, we're always using that term, clean title. We want to make sure that the title that the seller is offering to the buyer, again, I think maybe the industry term is marketable, but colloquially, that's a hard word to say on the radio. Colloquially, we call that a clean title, so that you're getting what you think you got without any liens or encumbrances.
And for those listeners that are still here, title insurance isn't exciting.
Yeah, I was surprised at the offer to be on the radio to talk about title insurance. So I appreciate the opportunity, but I hope your listeners survive.
Now, so I'll tell you what, Sam is the go-to guy, and he's also an attorney, and he's gotten us out of a lot of difficult situations and cleared up a lot of issues. It
well,
can
the
get
important
very
thing is that you get yourself in a lot of interesting situations.
That's true.
So.
That is true.
There.
And most of the charges never stuck. But anyway, Title Court does a great job, and I do a ton of business with them, and I do a lot of transactions, and you've got great people, and I've known Janet Clark and Beth Buckland and you and your father, who's also a Sam Cooper.
Also a Sam Cooper, also president of the company.
For a long time. And so thank you for doing such a great job.
Well, we love doing it. I know that it probably is, to your point, a little boring, a little bit in the weeds of the real estate transaction. But for those of us involved in it and those of us at our company, I can tell you we really, really, really love doing what we do. And we got a lot of long-time people that have been there doing it forever, and they do it. Frankly, at this point, particularly when you talk about some of the people that you just mentioned.
40 or 50 years.
Yeah, some of them have been doing it a long time, and the only reason they're still doing it is because they love it. And we love doing what we do, and we love getting in there and helping out our clients.
There's been weird things where you'll be closing on a property or trying to close a property, and then you'll find out there's a little piece of property that is owned by someone down in Mississippi or something, and you got to get a quick claim deed, or you got to solve these issues before you can close a property, and so sometimes it's up to the minute to close a property.
Well, thank you.
That's exciting.
That's a good point. Though, we try to avoid that. We try to make them as smooth. We try not to slide into home as best we can, but sometimes you do. And I always say, when that kind of point is brought up, you don't really need a good title guy until you need a good title guy. And at that point, you want to be using the best. And that's what we always say is, you're never going to know on that deal until the report comes back, whether it's clean or not. And if it comes back dirty, you need a good title guy to make sure that your deal closes on time. And I think that's kind of what we bring to the transaction. That's the value we bring.
We're talking with Sam Cooper from Title Core National, sometimes referred to just by the initials, TCN. But Sam, when Trenton is talking to you about Title Core, he's thinking it from a commercial real estate perspective, since that's what he does. A lot of our listeners, though, their interaction with title companies is when they buy a house. And so some people might just think, hey, I don't know, the title company just appears because the realtor suggests one. But talk to us a little bit about how people can choose a title company when they're buying a house and why they should choose TCN for a residential transaction.
This is such a great question. Thank you so much for asking it. I didn't even know you were going to ask this question, but I was hoping you were going to ask this question. So thank you. It's probably one of the larger things we fight on the residential side is the perception that, and I guess the kind of commoditization of our industry. People just think, the title company's the title company. They're all the same.
It's regulated.
You kind of draw one out of the hat and that's it. But it's not. I think what's important to remember is that there is a difference and you do have a choice. So you want to make sure that your title company is one that's got a long history in the community. Title Corps in one form or another has been around since 1878, so long history locally in this community. You want to make sure that they've been around, that they know what they're doing. And you want to make sure that they're going to keep your transaction safe and secure. In addition to obviously the title part of it, we handle a lot of money. We provide escrow services, and on the residential side, that might be the biggest check someone ever writes in their whole life. So we want to make sure that we're handling that with all the professionalism that it deserves. You do want to make sure that when you're choosing a title company, you pick and go with one that will meet your needs as best you can.
When it comes to title insurance, I'm pro-choice too. So the industry is regulated.
Correct.
And I'm buying a house, and I may want, who should reach out to? Who should I talk to when I want to find Title Corps?
We're easy to find. We make ourselves really easy to find. www.titlecorpnational.com. All of our people are on there. You can pick up the phone, call us. You can pick any of our team members and email them. You can work through your real estate agent, through your lender. I think we make ourselves as easy to find as we possibly
What month
can.
are you on the calendar?
You
don't have the swimsuit calendar anymore at Title Corps National?
No. We did away with that.
I jest.
That one came out of left field, but we got
I
to
was
wrap
going to
this
say,
interview
caught me
up.
flat-footed with that one, Trent.
The name of the company is Title Corps National, TCN for short. Sam Cooper, appreciate you joining us, and thanks for everything you do to make our real estate market here in Omaha better, stronger, and more vibrant.
And thank you guys again for the opportunity to come on. I really appreciate it. It's been fun.
It's great working with you.
Our pleasure. Sam Cooper, Title Corps National, going to take our middle of the show break for the news. When we come back, we'll have our Nodal Company's commercial real estate development spotlight and a couple rankings for Omaha and Nebraska. Stay with us. You're listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and Cheer Athletics on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
Swimsuit? I was like, in my head, I'm like, did they do a swimsuit calendar as a joke a few years ago? Or?
In my head, I'm now thinking we're going to start a swimsuit calendar.
That's not a bad idea.
You got October.
Mr. October's like Reggie Jackson.
I mean, you guys got to see the picture of this guy. He didn't know what to do with this green box. So these two young guys, they're probably 18 or 20, and when someone older than you or whatever, you want to be respectful. And we don't speak the language, and so I'm like, hey, we didn't want this can. We figured it was their taste or whatever. So
we figured you people would love it.
So here's this guy. Here's this kid. These guys are just exhausted. We're all standing in this little area because we don't have reserved seats.
He's probably still talking about Trent.
Yeah. Boxes right there. And then
Okay, so
it's got pieces of. It's wrapped.
He probably had to ask his mom if he could set it down.
He could wait till this thing wrapped. Then it's in his pocket, right there.
So you basically
I meant no disrespect.
This child.
Yeah, I meant no disrespect, but it was just, we're 2 hours on this train. I'm like, this is a great way to get rid of this thing. They'll enjoy it. They've been kind to let us kind of share their space if they had a
And
choice.
then Trent says, whatever you do, never lose this.
Never stand up.
Oh, yes. Okay, so this is something I'm kind of curious about. You always hear that the social norms, social mores in a place like Japan or China are so ingrained. That
they're just bowing everywhere.
And so important.
And so important. And is it? Did you really find that it is as advertised, that rigid of a social?
Well, especially the service class. I mean, we're around a lot. We were staying in hotels and
I need to get out of here, don't I?
And people,
Oh, you can stay as long as you want. We don't care.
unless you're on the game.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I actually do have to get to a.
You got other kids.
I got to get to a flag football game.
So,
and
but
then a
anyway,
baseball
no.
game.
So they bow, and like when you give gifts, you accept gifts. If you give money, you put in a little tray and stuff like that. So it's a great culture. I mean, and people go out of their way. I never saw anybody yell at each other or anything, but I'm sure there's some of that behind closed doors and stuff. But people, and everybody's very mindful of each other.
Yeah. Can you imagine how well Trenton must have blended in Tokyo?
I've kind of been picturing as he's telling these stories. I'm picturing in my mind, Trenton and navigating this.
Well, you try to
Not from around here.
It's hot. It's
Well, and then there's service charges. You're like they say you're not supposed to tip anybody either.
Oh,
And,
really?
And if you tip, sometimes they'll come running down the street. But a lot of people will take tips. But we'd hate to corrupt them that way. But they have service charges at restaurants and stuff like that.
All right, thanks.
Enjoy the games. Thanks, Sam. We appreciate you being here.
He's awesome.
Yeah, love him.
He did very well.
Smart guy.
Yes, he is very, very talented.
Thanks for being on the show today.
And like people after hearing that interview, like, I can't wait to be a Girl Omaha sponsor.
Yeah.
They treat him like gold. Ay.
We should do a blooper reel.
Chris has a lot of those. I think Chris has some outtakes.
I think probably what I need to do is flag some and just make a big reel over the year or something like that.
That could have been your roast at the
And
press
show it
club.
the roast, yeah.
Yeah, that could be your video, your pre-made video roast at the press club.
Oh my gosh, that's a good idea.
That's actually
Sorry,
good.
don't have enough time to pull it off, do you?
Are you talking
surprised.
to Brad about it? Stephanie and
Oh, Stephanie and Amy.
Stephanie's excited.
they're meeting right now.
We're thinking they should go first because they'll be. I know they don't listen this week. They'll be the least funny, probably.
I don't know. Amy's got some great stuff for you.
Stephanie wants to go first because she thinks they'll be the least funny.
Do you think Stephanie have any problem? Stephanie wants to go first?
Yeah, she thinks Stephanie and Amy together should go
But you gotta
first.
remember,
But how much of that is you just want to get that
No,
out of the way?
because we're gonna be last with the rebuttal, so it's not like they're gonna bring it down. They'll be funny. People are there to laugh. It's a roast, and we're feeding them drinks.
I think we should put the girls.
Have you guys
first.
talked about it the last couple weeks on the show at all?
Yeah, we announced it last week. We didn't do it 2 weeks ago. I was thinking about announcing it 2 weeks ago because
Should we tell people it's filling up now? I mean,
we're gonna be a little tight on time because we're already at 9:39, and we talked about it quite a bit last week.
between you and I, do you think Stephanie had any problem if Amy brought up her swimming in Cabo?
Swimming?
Remember when Stephanie jumped in the water when her parents were down there?
Oh, well, you're not supposed to roast her. You're supposed to roast me.
Well, you get
You're not supposed to roast a roaster.
You get your rebuttal, don't you?
All I know is, because you're how you're saying no one's going to have anything for me. It's all going to be for Trenton. You forgot about Amy.
But she'll be on you like.
Amy will tear me up.
Your palate. And,
Oh yeah, I'm gonna get tormented by her.
Yeah.
I'm gonna already start working on I'm gonna pre-work some of my rebuttals for her.
She says she has a hard time with because this is her second language. She says bitches instead of beaches. One time
I think I've heard her say that.
One time we're coming up
That's
we're coming up West Center Road and we're fighting about something, and what did she say?
This is on Uncut, Joe. Just you could get yourself. Not that Amy would ever listen to
But
it.
it breaks the mood when she said like she'll say luggages instead of luggage.
And
And
you're,
I've helped her over
and you're
time.
mad at each other, then you laugh at it, and
Yeah.
she gets even more angry.
No, she thinks it's funny.
Oh, okay. That's good that she's a good sport.
10 seconds, boys.
Okay.
Did you know that typhoon and tycoon and sushi are the same words? I wanted to say
All right, here we go.
They have a different word for everything there.
Make News Radio 1110 KFAB your #1 preset on our free iHeartRadio app. So when severe weather strikes, we're just a click away.
And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beal sitting next to Trenton Magid. We're brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center. That is the Best of Omaha award winner so many times we can hardly keep track. They do an outstanding job for metro area locations. We're also brought to you by Cheer Athletics. Our good friend Craig Wolf and his wife Tiffany are the proprietors of the Omaha location of Cheer Athletics. It's one of 15 locations around the world. That's right, they're international, so we're very fortunate to have one right here in Omaha, and it is the nation's #1 all-star cheer gym. The Omaha location is located just a little southwest of highways 50 and 370 in Papillion. Well, it's time for our Noddle Company's Commercial Real Estate Development Spotlight of the Week, in which we talk about happenings in or around one of the many Noddle Company's developments in town. And when I say many, there are many big ones too, like Exarban Village, Builders District in North Downtown, so many other. When you drive around Omaha and you look at a cool building or a cool place, there's a good chance that Noddle Companies was involved in making that project happen. And they do stuff not just in Omaha, but around the country as well. You can find out more about Noddle Companies simply by going to noddlecompanies.com. Well, for this week's Noddle Companies report, we go to Exarban Village, and we are proud to announce that the Exarban Crit is coming next Saturday, May 17th. This is the first ever Exarban Crit. And if you're wondering what a crit is, it's spelled C-R-I-T, and it is short for Criterium, which is, to be specific, a bicycle race of specified number of laps on a closed course over public roads closed to normal traffic.
Sure.
So if you have that's a descriptive word right there.
A crit.
Yeah. So anyway, this will be the first crit, and it's my understanding this is going to become a tradition, an annual tradition. It'll begin next Saturday near Baxter Arena. It's free and open to the public. It's going to be very cool. It'll be a huge festival-type environment. So next Saturday afternoon, if you're looking for some cool entertainment, go to Exarban Village for the first ever Exarban Crit. And it's also, they're going to kind of honor the horse racing history and all that sort of thing. So I'm looking forward to popping in there and seeing what it's like. And that is your Noddle Company's Commercial Real Estate Development Spotlight of the Week. Well, we have some good news for those of you who, like us, are proud of Omaha and proud of the state of Nebraska because we got some good affirmation. We get a lot of good affirmation lately. It seems like we're so often ranked as the best this or the best that or the top 10 in another thing. Well, just this week, Grow Omaha reported that Omaha is the 4th best mid-sized metro area in America for working moms in 2025. This is according to Co-working Cafe. The rankings were developed using 15 metrics such as share of employed moms, childcare accessibility and affordability, work from home and self-employment rates, access to pediatricians, income, many more. So congratulations, Omaha. You are a great place for working moms.
Just in time for Mother's Day.
And then Nebraska is number 5 on U.S. News and World Report's annual Best States ranking. The 2025 rankings just were released, I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday of this week. The 2025 rankings evaluated all 50 states to capture how they best serve their citizens across a range of categories. So here are the best states to be in 2025. Number 1, Utah. Utah won that for the 3rd year in a row.
Interesting.
Number 2, New Hampshire. Number 3, Idaho. Number 4, Minnesota. Number 5, go Huskers. Number 6, Florida. Number 7, Vermont. Number 8, South Dakota, our neighbors to the north. Number 9, Massachusetts. And number 10, Washington. Nebraska did find itself ranked number 1 in one of the subcategories. Nebraska number 1 in the infrastructure subcategory.
Interesting.
Yeah, so we have the best infrastructure in America. That U.S. News report is very influential. And, this comes not too long after Forbes ranked Omaha as the number 1 city to move to in 2024. So these are some heavy-hitting recognition pieces that we see Omaha coming up with lately.
There's a lot of road construction. There's a lot of technology that's coming into Omaha, and and the streetcar, and we're always innovating, which I think is important.
Yeah, quality of life remains high, and we do know a lot of people have moved here because, in addition, Omaha earlier this year was named the #1 hottest housing market. And I remember when I saw that, I about fell over because, Trent and I were both natives and, we're happy to live here, chose to come back here. We both moved away for a while and came back. But to see Omaha, our hometown, as the #1 hottest housing market was kind of crazy and a little bit hard to believe. Another thing that came out in March, Google released in a press release, and they released this in late March, and I just found out about it this week. But there's a thing called Google Flights, Flight, flights, like as in airplanes and all that. I didn't even know that existed. But they released a report about the top 10 summer destinations in 2025 that were searched for on Google for this summer. And this was they considered U.S. locations that would be visited with departures from other U.S. airports. Okay? Omaha was 7th.
You're kidding me.
Number 7.
How much of that is for the College World Series?
I wondered because when I first thought it, when I saw it, rather, I thought, okay, a good chunk of that has got to be College World Series. But that's just 10 days. And this was for travel between June 1st and the end of August. And so I'm wondering.
People like baby elephants.
Is it, the zoo could be part of that, but is part of it maybe all of these rankings? Some people say, hey, let's go to that place. Is it a fluke?
Ever since the Omaha football call and just getting our name out there is a wonderful thing. And Warren Buffett and Berkshire Hathaway does a ton of that. And I think people talk about us, and it's highly positive. Yeah,
it was really cool, but albeit a nice surprise. And then finally, Trenton mentioned this earlier, accessory dwelling units. We have their ADUs. Basically, the city recently passed an ordinance saying that it is now permissible to build an ADU, which is like a little smaller house, a cottage in your backyard. Now, for those of you that live in newer neighborhoods, be careful with your homeowners association.
Well, even older neighborhoods like mine that will have OHAs and
we
renewed our covenant. So I don't know. I'd be surprised if the city stuff controlled.
At any rate, it is now permitted in the city, assuming it doesn't interfere with your HOA or something like that. But the whole idea behind this was to make housing more affordable because you would have one piece of land, and oftentimes these are called the mother-in-law cottage.
Mm-hmm.
It's people build.
Father-in-laws can stay too.
They don't last as long as mothers-in-law generally, but for aging parents, adult children, or whatever. And it's really a great way that some cities have helped with housing affordability, and Omaha now is allowing it too. There is a very cool display being constructed right on the entry plaza of Heartland of America Park as you're coming from Gene Leahy Mall. It is under construction. It'll be done pretty quick. They're moving
just
fast.
North of the skate ribbon.
And correct. And it will be on display all the way till October. So check that out. It'll be kind of a cool little thing.
Award-winning design.
And maybe you could have an ADU in your yard if you don't have an HOA prohibiting it. So with that, we're going to take our final break of the hour. And when we come back, it'll be our Perkins Kreitzer Construction Lightning Round, in which we talk about a lot of things in a short period of time. That's the list. There's a lot on it. Stay with us. You're listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and Cheer Athletics on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
Is Jason Leno on next week?
Soon. I don't know what the exact day. I think is he June? No, he's May, I think. Yeah, maybe he is next week.
So I find out
I don't have the calendar.
at like 5 or 5:30 on Sunday night when I have to report for jury duty.
Okay, perfect.
Wait, what is that?
I have to call in for jury duty for this coming week.
You can ask for an extension.
Are you gonna come down and bring me lunch?
You want me to?
No.
You can bring me lunch if you wanted to my office.
I can do that.
I don't know. I got a lot.
won't do it, but I could.
I'm not going to.
But you know how hard it is to plan. Like I'm happy to serve, but you know how hard it is to plan.
Yeah.
Could you imagine me as an alternate juror? Like I can't talk and I have to sit there for 2 weeks.
Or like talk at all during the.
I don't know. You
Can you imagine him as a juror? Period. Like the guy's talking, he'll want to.
ask questions so badly.
I don't
Trent,
know.
all you have to do is tell them you work for this radio station. They'll kick your ass right off that jury.
Yeah, that's true.
I promise you.
Good point. I'm going to try that. Well, and I'm not going to wear a shirt when I go in. That should help.
That's how I normally go around.
I don't know. I would imagine that
Your Honor,
you know
both-
so many people in this town that there's a good chance you will have to excuse yourself anyway.
Your Honor, both the prosecution and the defense would like to strike their first juror.
You know,
We unanimously choose juror number 12.
We've heard the Grow Home Radio show.
Yeah.
No.
I have a friend named Dean who owns a bunch of fast food restaurants, and he said that when they got interviewed by the attorneys or whatever, he knew
30
both
seconds.
parties. It was like a corporate issue, white collar crime or whatever, and they kept him. And he was the foreman and everything. And
Really?
Well, sometimes
it was a $5 or $7 million
And
judgment.
he basically sent the guy to the electric chair.
He had a great time.
well, they'll say, "Can you be impartial?" And if you answer and say yes, and if they need a juror, they'll probably
10 seconds.
You're like, I think so, but he looks awfully guilty to me.
Yeah.
All right, boys, here we go.
I hope you're enjoying the Mother's Day weekend and following the spinning news.
Part of my chair.
We'll be all over it Monday, KFAB's Morning News.
Well, thank you, Gary Saddlemeyer. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. It is now time for your Perkins Kreitzer Construction Lightning Round, in which we talk about a lot of things very, very fast. Thank you to Perkins Kreitzer Construction for making this possible. We are proud to say they are a Class A outstanding general contractor based here in Omaha. They serve the entire metro area, but they do projects. They go all the way out, Sioux City, deep into Iowa, all the way out to North Platte, Nebraska. They're all over the place. Perkins Kreitzer Construction has an outstanding team. Many of their project managers and superintendents and carpenters have over 30 years of experience in the construction industry. And I don't care whether you want to build a strip center and have a nice property to lease out, or if you want to build your own church, for crying out loud. They can do it all at Perkins Kreitzer Construction, and you can find them online at p-cconstruction.com.
They just finished the Funny Bone. It's open.
Oh, is it now open?
Yeah.
Cool. I am excited to go see what the new location looks like.
114th and Dodge on the west side.
So Baker's Supermarket has announced something that has been rumbling around as a rumor for the last couple of years, and that is they are indeed going to build a grocery store northwest of 204th and Q Street. It'll be a $40 million project, and at 123,000 square feet, it will be about 55,000 square feet larger than the traditional Baker's stores in town. It's going to be called Baker's Marketplace because I wonder if they're trying to be kind of like the world's greatest Hy-Vee and indoor amusement park in Gretna with
so.
all of that. Groundbreaking will occur this summer. Completion is scheduled for 2026.
There's a lot of pad sites around there, too, so it'll be interesting to see how that grows up over there. But I think it's been like 25 years since they built. A lot of people think that 132nd was the last supermarket for Baker's, but I think it was Lakeside.
Yeah, it's been quite a while, so good to have Kroger/Baker's building again in Omaha. Westroads Mall will see some big changes according to final plat documents reviewed by the Omaha Planning Board earlier this week. The 174,000 square foot West Anchor store, which was previously a Yonkers department store, is getting a 32,000 square foot two-story addition put onto it. According to the plat documents, the former Granite City building will be demolished because they need more parking for the store that is going to be replacing the Yonkers. There has been no announcement as to which department store will be replacing Yonkers. Nothing is official, but we're pretty sure it rhymes with billiards. Moving right along, we have
What's the big D?
The Stamina Bar. The Stamina Bar, Omaha's first video game-themed energy bar, will open at 8713 Shamrock Road in Countryside Village. I didn't even know there was such a thing as a video game energy bar.
I thought the games just gave everybody the energy.
Tentative opening date is set for September 1st. Big Grove Brewery is just weeks away from opening its first Nebraska tap room inside the recently completed Catalyst building on the University of Nebraska Medical Center
That'll be
campus.
really cool, and we've been through that building.
It's part of the Edge District, which is west of Saddle Creek Road. And the catalyst is what is known now as that former Omaha Steelworks plant, the old steel mill. This is a big deal. Big Grove started in 2013 near Iowa City, Iowa, and now has locations in Cedar Rapids and Des Moines, Iowa. Signage has been installed, and some of the interior build-out work has been completed for Trax Lounge West.
Have you been to the other one, the original?
Have I been there? I am crazy about fried chicken. I
You've
love
never
fried
taken me
chicken.
there.
I'll go with you for lunch this week. Let's go for lunch this week. Love Trax. The new one will be within walking distance of my house. And God knows I'm going to need to walk there in order to burn off the calories I'll consume while I get there. Mouth of the South, the local Southern and Cajun-inspired restaurant, is now fully back under the ownership of its founder, Ryan Ernst. They had a 2017 fire at their original location up in Florence. They moved around a bit. And so the original guy now owns it, and it is, according to him, returned to the concept that started it all. They have one location located in Lakeside Hills near 169th and West Center Road.
That's where I live.
Very close to you. You could walk to Mouth of the South.
I can walk downtown, but I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, theoretically, I mean, you could walk across town.
Yeah.
Let's do it. All right, the music is playing, which means that we don't have any more time left, but we will be back next week. In the meantime, I should say, I hope everyone has a great week. I'm Jeff Beals.
And I'm Trenton Maggot.
You've been listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center, along with Cheer Athletics, the nation's #1 all-star cheer gym, and Perkins Kreitzer Construction. We'll chat with you next week at 9, right here on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
If you like this video, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. And remember, Grow Omaha is not just media. This is a mission. We are trying to build up Omaha and make it an even better place. We can only do that with your help. Share this video with your friends, neighbors, and family.